Hello guys and welcome back to another Valheim news video. It's been a crazy week for the Valheim team as they have just announced over on their Steam page that they have finally passed 6 million copies sold, and they state that the game is still steadily growing bigger and stronger, which, to take their words out of their mouths, really is absolutely fantastic. And I'm sure I, along with yourselves, want to see this game grow from strength to strength as the team continue to optimize and update the game. But before we go into the rest of the news, if you do find this news coverage interesting or helpful, then please do drop the thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, so that I know that you want me to keep producing this type of content. Now, returning to the article, they even go on to talk about how, though they're still working from home, like a lot of us, that they are still working hard to keep to their targets and have been taking part in a multitude of interviews and podcasts, some of which we've spoken about in previous news videos and some we'll go on to talk about shortly. The team are really focusing at the moment on squishing some of those high priority bugs that are at the forefront of our minds. A big one for them at the moment is the networking issue found in multiplayer. But that isn't the only type of bug they're working on as well. Also the death mosquito. You know, that bug which dedicatedly pursues you even if you're sailing far away, and that inevitably slaughters you if you don't kill it first. Best of luck if you find a group of them. Yes, they're hoping to rebalance them a little more, but in my opinion, as annoying as it is, they should be difficult. Maybe requiring a potion to drink to mask your scent like current mosquito sprays, or possibly Plane's specific armor to protect you. After all, if you go out unprotected, well, that's your choice, but you'll regret it. If you wouldn't travel to the mountains at night without silver in your hand or a wolf cape over your shoulder to keep you warm, why would you go into the plains unprepared? But that's just my opinion. Perhaps I'm wrong, but I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about that. And at this point, they go on to talk about Hearth and Home. And I have to admit, I'm pretty happy with the little teaser image they've shown us. It's the first big update which we know is focused on home and food recipes, and I'm dying to get my hands on it. The image itself could just be a decoration piece, a bit like the serpent, or perhaps it's a dragon head, I can't remember. But the important thing is to remember this is just a teaser. It teases for a reason. It really wouldn't surprise me if this bird also points to us being able to tame birds to harvest for feathers. And if they're going to nerf the bows or arrows, which they've mentioned they will in previous news episodes, we may well need a steady supply of feathers for extra arrows to make up in the shortfall of damage. But what I found most interesting is the roof. I have tried everything I could possibly think of in the game currently to get this effect, and I couldn't get close to something like this. So I'm tempted to say, and I could be wrong, but that they're teasing a wooden slated style roof tile, or possibly even two, because the apex of the roof, that kind of slate, looks like it could be a different one as well, with the wooden slated roof tile also dipping up underneath it. But it's only a very slight hint to what that could be, so I could be wrong. But what do you think it is? Is it just a decorational raven that they're showing, or are they hinting at much more? Let me know in the comments below. And at this point, they finished the article with a picture of the now 6-person strong team. As we covered earlier on, they were looking at taking on more staff to help with the huge workload, and it wouldn't surprise me if we see a couple more staff members added over the coming months. As we mentioned previously, they have a few positions open, and from an interview between Lisa and PC Gamer, she came forward about being originally employed to split her time between being a 3D artist and a community manager. And to be fair, they only aimed to sell 1 million copies of the game by the end of their first year, not 6 million copies within their first 6 weeks. So since release, Lisa has taken the reins as full-time community manager to try and control the hordes of content-thirsty Norse roaming Valheim. The interview is rather insightful, talking about what brought her to the gaming industry, but also went into detail as to some of the items in-game that she created, including the Odin hood, cape and drinking horn, as well as the black metal weapons and food items. The whole interview in itself is well worth watching, so I will also attach the article below, but that in itself brings us to really our next little update, which is the minor changes that we have recently seen to the roadmap. So what's changed about the roadmap? The first change was improvements which was added to Hearth and Home, which could just mean general in-game improvements based on feedback, or it could be improvements to the various crafting items we have in the home build options. Ships in the Sea was changed to be saga-worthy seas and even more ships. Now this is really exciting. The saga-worthy could just mean worthy of being called a saga, but if you look at Norse sagas, there's reference to krakens, which we've already pointed out, some of the krakens in-game, which many have said actually are leviathans. But here's an image of what I believe the team mean by kraken, a squid-like beast which is housed within a shell that appears to be a small island, which is pretty similar to what we've already seen in game though. We can also expect a new boss of the sea. I doubt this will be the kraken, but possibly something much bigger, like a giant sea serpent for example. But regardless, I am super excited for this. I love the sailing element of the game. They also mentioned that there are more ships and then put a little star, and if we look at the bottom, they actually point that regular ships as well as seas are already in game. This could just be a joke, or could also point to the other ship which isn't yet complete but is in the game file. What I'd like to see even more though is ships with customizability. I'd love to build onto my ships, but that's just me perhaps. I just love building, as you may have seen in one of our build guides previously. They also mentioned Voyage to the Mistlands. Is this some journey we will have to all make, or are they just glitzing up the title? Who knows, but I love the adventure feel that they're giving this. They also added 2 new additions to the If Odin Wills It section, which to me suggests they're rather confident that they can get this stuff done. They mentioned Moonin, going on to mention the Raven of Lore. A lot of you actually spoke to me in the comments and said that this is probably relating to magic. And though magic would absolutely be amazing in this game, I think it's more likely going to be focused around the lore and the story of the actual world that we're playing in, giving the game a more grounded feel for us all. And finally, they did also go on to mention that we would possibly be seeing a special guest, Gangleri, who you may have seen wandering about your worlds as an old man with one eye and a dark cloak. Now this celebrity is actually known by another name, Odin, who is known to be a solitary wanderer. That being said, it could also be pointing to a horse in-game, as Gangleri is a common name for horses in Iceland, which were supposedly taken to Iceland by Viking Age Scandinavians. And we should also remember that horses played a very important part in Norse mythology. It's certainly worth thinking about, even if it's likely untrue, but I would be very grateful to have a horse in-game that we could tame. Onwards, my trusty steed! But who knows? I can certainly see them coming to the game eventually at some point, even if it's not just yet. Anyway guys, that's all we have time for in this video, so if you did enjoy this breakdown, please do drop a thumbs up, and obviously if you do want to see more, don't forget to subscribe and let me know your thoughts below. Anyway guys, until next time, thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much to all of our amazing supporters, most notably our Solar Eclipse patrons, The Calamity, JP Zone TV, Treble, and Cerebral Tag, as well as our Lunars, Matt Lippard, Chris McCabe, Lord of July, and Not Dead Yet, as well as our Blood Moon of the Day, Wreck-It Ralph. Anyway guys, until next time, ciao for now.